Your job is basically industry advocacy and policy influence. How are you trying to do that, influence the policy when there's so much uncertainty? Are you communicating with the Trump administration in the United States? Whoa, 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 we need the chips flowing around the world. Let's not go there.
So we communicate with all the governments, not just the U.S. Because semi is very important to understand. We are country neutral in terms of politics. We don't get involved with politics or politicians. We focus on the policies which have been announced, and we navigate our industry on how to deal with the policies to make sure that the growth is continuing or to minimize the headwinds. That's the SEMI's philosophy, to work with the governments to find the solutions for navigating with the uncertain policies that are impacting the industry. So we don't get involved into politics, but we definitely involved in policies. So right now, my message to all my industry folks and the governments that I've been talking to is work with the U.S. government, work with the inter-region governments, work with each other, but do not retaliate. Retaliation will lead to a massive disaster in terms of supply chain disruptions. So that is my one key message to fellow industry and fellow governments, that nobody should retaliate, rather continue the negotiations with the countries, G2G negotiations, and come to a solution, a resolution of this problem.
And you mentioned intergovernmental negotiation and communications, and I think here in Singapore, where we are, and for Semicon Southeast Asia, the backdrop is just very fitting and fascinating, because this region has been trying to move up the chip value chain, and very quiet, not making too much headlines, but it's getting there. It's got there. And countries like Singapore and Malaysia, they're actually playing a very key role, especially on the back end processes. How do you assess Singapore and Malaysia and the region's rise to become a very essential part of the global supply chain?
I think that's a very good question. I think this is an opportunity for many countries to step up, especially on the 30th anniversary of Semicon Southeast Asia. And I'm glad we are in Singapore. And the countries like Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, all the neighboring countries in the Asian, the opportunities are huge. Why I'm saying this? Our industry, if you calibrate them with the size based on IC revenue, it grew to $620-some billion last year and took us 70 years to get there. In next 6 to 7 years, it's going to double to more than 1 trillion. Now, whether it's 6, 7 years or 8 years, not 10 years, definitely less than a decade, it will be more than 1 trillion. And I think it is important that we grow in other parts of the world as well, because our industry has been very interconnected with only few hubs in the world. And that's where I feel the risk is very high. Based upon what lessons we learned during the COVID and the climate crisis in 22 with the chip shortages, I don't think we can afford another chip shortages ever again. So for me, having more hubs will provide more redundancies in our supply chain. I think this will be de-risking the risk now that we have more uncertainties due to geopolitical issues. So it is even important that we create more redundancies in our supply chain network. So I welcome the excitement in this area.